What's up, guys, and welcome to the channel. This is Tyler Toth. Guys, we do 99.9% positivity, self-improvement, how we can better ourselves and the lives of others around us on this channel. But today we're going to take a stand. I'm really big into auditing your inputs. I talk about this on the channel a lot. You need to be very weary of what you allow to come into your mind. I do not think it's wise to wake up every day and consume tons of media, take in all the world's problems, and have anxiety and fret about all these things. But I do think there comes a time where we need to see evil and call it what it is. In today's video, I'm going to cover some pretty disturbing things. Some things that I think as a society, as a man, as a father, a protector, we need to take a stand against, we need to speak out against, and there is just no other way to put it, but there is evil forces going on in this world. Now, if you believe like I do, it's pretty easy to see. I believe we don't fight against flesh and blood. I truly believe there are demonic forces out there. There are demonic people doing absolutely evil and undespicable things to children right under our noses. This is never talked about in the media. This is never covered. And today I want to talk about a few things we can do as a society to take a stand against this. Number one, I think we just need to have courage and talk about it and highlight some of these things, bring awareness to them. There's a fabulous quote by Edmund Burke that I read a few days ago that really prompted this video. He said, "Evil can only exist when good men do nothing." And again, I live a really good life. If I'm really honest with you, that's why I don't look at a lot of the media. I don't waste a lot of my time with politics and a lot of this noise because I got a great family and a great home and a great community, and I get to do things I want to do every day. And so there is a tendency of me to just say, well, I'll affect my home, I'll affect my community, those people around me. I can't really affect some of this other stuff. So I am going to put my best energy into this. Now, I do stand by that, and I think it's wise. But I do think that there has to come a line in the sand where we all take a hard look and say, if I know these really terrible things are going on and I never speak out against them, I never take a stand, am I complicit as well? So today, guys, we're going to cover some disturbing things. You might hear these things and be really angry, irritated, pissed off. That's how I felt. When I was researching this video a couple times, if I'm very honest, I'm the father of a couple small children. I had a lot of rage in my eyes. I had a lot of hate in my heart for a lot of these people doing these terrible things. So if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, the harming of children, the sexual exploitation of children, maybe this isn't the video for you. The last thing I'd ever want to do is trigger somebody with some past trauma or anything like that. But I'm going to cover today what I believe is the most evil thing that a person can do in the world and how the media never talks about it. They're in on it with a lot of the elites and show a lot of this stuff and how it works, and then what I think we can do as a society to take a stand and say this is enough. We're not putting up with this. I'm going to start this one with Jeffrey Epstein. Now look, you can do a quick search of Jeffrey Epstein and see this guy's a eccentric billionaire. He was a finance guy for a while. Then he kind of goes dark for a little period of time, then resurfaces back in the 90s and early 2000s as known as this lavish party throwing guy. Some people will say, and there's a lot of reports out there when I went in on this, that he was a CIA asset, that they would use him to get scientists. They would use him to get some of these elite politicians and most powerful people in the world to come to a lot of these parties and do these very heinous things. They would then have them on film, and now this is a great way to control people. Look, if I've got a famous politician who's married with kids and runs on a platform of, God, country, all these things, and I now have video of showing him doing sexual things to minors and despicable acts, I can probably get this guy to vote or do anything I want him to do. So there's a lot of stuff around that. That's all speculation. That's all allegedly. But the more I dug into it, the more that made a lot of sense. Now I'm going to use one example here, and that's Bill Gates. Bill Gates is on the manifesto 28 times that's confirmed that he flew a private jet with Jeffrey Epstein to Epstein Island. 28 times. That is never reported in the media. That is never talked about. And why is that? We have a known pedophile who's arrested on that charges in 2008. We have a guy, one of the most powerful men in the world, flying with him to this island 28 times. It's never talked about. Did you also know Bill Gates donated $361 million just last year to various media outlets? Maybe that's why it's not talked about. See, all these elites run in circles and they play their same games, and that's again why I go back to, you can't just consume news and expect it to tell you the truth. What you need to do is dig a little deeper and do your own research. So we've got guys like Bill Gates, like senators, like some of the most powerful people in the world linked to Epstein Island. In fact, the FBI comes out and says they have a list and documents of all the people that have now frequented Epstein Island. That was in 2019, 2020. 3 years later, we still don't have that list. 3 years later, the FBI has time to investigate Hunter Biden, to raid Trump's house, do all these political kind of things, right? But we don't have time to know who has visited a known pedophile island where atrocities were happening. Who was involved in that? Nobody knows. Then we have Jeffrey Epstein in a federal maximum security prison under 24-hour watch by multiple guards. And you're telling me he commits suicide. Nobody sees it and the cameras just happen to not be working. Oh, by the way, no news outlets will cover this story. Nobody will touch it. Can you imagine a story of this magnitude? World leaders, the most powerful people in the world, frequenting an island where known pedophilia and the worst things imaginable in human history are happening, and the media goes silent. Nobody reports on this story. Now look, if you think Jeffrey Epstein killed himself in prison and that the cameras just happened to not be working and the guards happened to just fallen asleep during that time and man, I got some land I want to sell you somewhere. It's just, all these things do not add up. But people don't talk about it. And why is that? Well, because the media doesn't cover real stories like this. They have us too busy fighting amongst ourselves between, do Black Lives Matter, do all lives matter, do this matter, do this matter. It's the craziest thing. Nobody talks about this. There is no independent journalism anymore in these news stations that these people will dig in and do these things. And it's absurd. You know, another news thing that hit, and again, I'm going to go back to the protecting of children, because I believe as a society, if we don't protect our most vulnerable, which are children, little kids who are innocent and cannot defend themselves, we're nothing. We have no moral high ground to stand on. We have nothing. And so recently another one came out, and this is Woody Allen. I'll put a picture up of him. Now, allegedly, Woody Allen for decades has been known as a pedophile, child molester. Many issues have come up. Everybody in Hollywood, anytime this happens, oh, he's just a brilliant filmmaker. Woody's a little different, but he's a brilliant filmmaker. As I did research for this time and time and time again, whenever anyone is pushed a little bit on this, that's their answer. Almost like in unison, they fall down the line. I'm gonna share this video with you guys. This is the most disturbing video I've ever heard. As a dad, it put tears in my eyes. This girl is 6 or 7 years old in this video, and it's Woody Allen's stepdaughter. This is his ex-wife, Mia Farrow, and his phone call that just got leaked a couple weeks ago. Take a listen.
Because you will not let me get it.
You have to. It's way beyond that now. What you've done to Suni, what you've done to Dylan. What you've done to Dylan. Dylan's a baby. How could you do that to her? I don't know anything of the kind. I know what Dylan tells me. You've told me nothing but lies. Dylan tells the truth and consistently. No, I don't know that, Woody. I've always been worried about you and Dylan. And I didn't know the doctor had to report this to the authorities. I didn't know that. I went just to be sure she was all right. And she's not all right, Woody. She walks around the house holding her vagina. She sleeps with me. She's scared of you. And you hurt her. And I feel pretty guilty myself that I wasn't there to protect her. She said, Mommy, you didn't help me. She said, Daddy shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have hurt me like that. If you hurt her, you would weep inside. And you would just want to be dead. Because I don't know how you can live with what you did.
Now again, this is allegedly, right? No proof, no anything, but when there's smoke, there's fire. This stuff has been going on for a long time. Woody Allen's currently married to Soon Yi, a girl I'll put a picture up here. He met her when she was 10 years old. Multiple reports, you can do a quick Google search, said that he started grooming her when she was 10 years old. So this stuff comes out all the time. But we've got Woody Allen, right? He created Match Point, Midnight in Paris, all these things. They're going to turn a blind eye. That's what elites and media and society says. Scarlett Johansson, who's a very famous actress, was really pressing on James Franco. Back in 2019, she's given a speech at a women's march. James Franco is this. We need to believe all women and do this. And you hear this over and over again. That same day, she was asked by a reporter, what about Woody Allen? You've starred in many of his movies. You've made hundreds of millions of dollars by starring in his movies. What do you think about that? Her exact comment? No comment. We see this over and over and over again with the elites. We see Hillary Clinton, a champion for women, right? Man, women's rights, women's movement. What about Bill? What about all those women all through the years? Donald Trump rallies the Christian folks, man. Let's 2 Corinthians. I'm going to rally him around this. What about all the alleged charges, man? Why does nobody talk about these things? It's crazy to me that we can see people exploiting children, exploiting our most vulnerable in society, and no one says a word. We just keep going on like it doesn't happen. Another really easy example in Hollywood is Harvey Weinstein. He got away with this stuff for decades, and it came out later that everybody knew, oh, it's just Harvey, it's what he does. It's just become an okay thing to kind of turn a blind eye if it works for you. I'm here today to say we got to stand up to this stuff. Not one person has been imprisoned for raping innocent children at Epstein Island. Not one. No one held accountable. That is wrong. That is immoral. That is sinful. The only way evil exists is when good people do nothing. So what do we do? That's the question today. I think number one, we highlight it. We talk about it. We don't let them sweep these things under the rug. We have the courage to stand up and say, we know these are going on and we demand answers. Once upon a time, the United States was the land of the free. The people ruled government. It wasn't the government saying, hey, you have to do X, Y, Z. We don't have to, but you have to. It was the people in charge. And guys, look, this reminds me back to the elephant analogy. A massive 2-ton elephant, what they do is they train it from birth and they put a little chain around its ankle. And they teach it that anytime it tries to fight back, it can't go anywhere because it's chained up. By the time that elephant's an adult, all they do is tie a little rope around it. The elephant's not tied to anything. He just assumes he's in chains because he always has been. I think a lot of people are in that. Well, we can't do anything because it's government. They're so powerful. They have this and that. They have all the money, they have the media, they have the power, they have the control. It's time we take back our country. It's time we speak up about issues. It's time we start calling these things immoral and wrong and demanding justice. Another thing we need to do is protect our children vigilantly. We need to be vigilant as parents when we're out at parks or just everyday life. Unfortunately, we live in a world where that's a thing. We have to be vigilant about that. But what about somebody else's children? What about children from other countries that, we don't really know much about them and they somehow wind up in these terrible situations? I'm asking everybody today to take a hard look, to really think about this. Many kids, innocent kids' lives have been ruined because of elite and powerful people doing these heinous and evil things. Is that okay? Is that something as a society we're just willing to sweep under the rug? Let's just not talk about it. How's the football team doing? Let's talk about that. How's the WWE politics doing? Let's talk about that. That's why a lot of these things exist. It's a smokescreen to keep you from talking about actual issues. But guys, it's long past time that we just say, well, that's just government. That's just what happens. There's 360 million of us. If we rise up and we take a stand, we can demand justice from these people. My dad, who's the wisest guy I've ever known, told me a story one time. He said, Ty, I worked in a shop, and one day they got a new boss, and that boss came in and said, you can't have any beards. Everybody who works here needs to shave their beard tomorrow. He said there was like 36 of them in the office, only 2 or 3 of them had beards. So, the other 33 easily could have said, well, it doesn't affect me. But my father saw the writing on the wall. And what my dad did is he went around and rallied everybody up and said, hey guys, it's beards today. Maybe it's mustaches tomorrow. Maybe it's tattoos the next day. Why? There's 36 of us and 1 of him. No. My dad led a coup for every single guy in that office to grow a beard. And they went to the boss and said, fire us all. And I think that's what we have to do. Instantly, that boss backed down, changed the rule, and said, yeah, you guys are right, beards are okay. And I think if we, the people, stand up, quit being so divided by the pettiness of did you take a frickin' vaccine or did you not? Are you black, white, rich, poor, brown, Asian? If you want to find data that says your group is oppressed today, it's very easily available. Oh, as a Christian white male, we're being persecuted. As a black male, they're being hunted by police. Anything you want to prove, you can go on the internet and find searches. There's hate crimes against every group. That's what they highlight in the media. That's how they keep us divided. That's how they keep us away from real issues. You know, the US national debt is currently $31.6 trillion. Our infrastructure very quickly going under. Our 51st state, Ukraine, gets $100 billion as our infrastructure rots, and they say we don't have money to fix it. They take the craziest 3% on the right and the craziest 3% on the left. All they do is show you that that's who the other team is. At least you're better than them on this team. Guys, we're all on the same team. Everybody watching this should look at these evil things that exist and some of the problems in our government and demand answers. If we all stand up for these things, if we all fight back for these things, it's doable. We can demand some accountability. We can get new people in that actually want to help. Guys, I know this video has been a little more dark today. You can tell I'm a little fired up about it. It definitely has pushed a button in me that, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna not say things on evil topics. I truly believe there's demonic forces in the world, pure evil. But I truly believe in the end, we win. That God is great and He's sovereign, He's in control. But we only win and we only get what we pray for if we move our feet too. It's not enough to just pray for these things. It's beyond time to take a stand against these things. It's time to call evil evil. It's time to call a spade a spade. If it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. So I thank you guys for tuning in. We'll get back to the positivity and the 99% self-improvement next week and put out over 100 videos now. We'll continue to do that. But I did want to take a moment today and just pause and just ask you guys to take a look at some of these evil and hard things it is to look at and to start to demand some answers with me. Demand some justice with me. Give to some of the nonprofits doing great work. If we can save a child, if we can help remove some of this evil, we've done our part. Thank you guys. Go have the greatest day and God bless.